Disclaimer, this video contains heavy spoilers for Kingdom Hearts 3, so if you want to learn about the story on your own, this is not the video to watch for yourself. This is your one and only warning. So from here on out, there will be Kingdom Hearts 3 spoilers. Hope you enjoy the video. What's up everybody, it's Michang here, and Kingdom Hearts 3, it's out, it's real, it's been a thing for a week now, at least publicly been out for a week. So, I beat the game a couple days ago, and I have a lot of things to say. So welcome to this video where I'm just going to be talking about my raw thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 3. It's not really an in-depth review, I'm not going to be analyzing anything in any particular order or any particular level of expertise. I'm just going to be talking about, off the top of my head, just some thoughts I had about the Kingdom Hearts 3 experience as a whole. So it's going to be raw, it's going to be hopefully mostly uncut, and I'm just going to be spewing nonsense off the top of my head as I think about it. So first thing to talk about, since it's the first thing that you see, or hear I guess, is the dearly beloved theme. Holy shit, Kingdom Hearts 3 killed it. Favorite dearly beloved theme ever out of all the Kingdom Hearts games, and the music overall in general, Kingdom Hearts 3 is phenomenal, definitely the best in the series. My only complaint about the music is that I wish there were a few more Kingdom Hearts tracks, if that makes sense, outside of the Disney worlds, because a lot of the new battle themes that were used were remixes from Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 battle themes, which I loved, because you don't see enough Kingdom Hearts 1 music in my opinion, and to see it remixed so well, I really liked it. However, there weren't enough Kingdom Hearts 3, I guess, or Kingdom Hearts separate tracks outside the Disney worlds, because I mean, granted, there were music in the new music in the Disney worlds was fantastic. I mean, the new music in general was great, but I didn't think there was enough Kingdom Heartsy music, if that makes any sense. But like I said, very small complaint about the music. Overall, great. And now let's talk about just the setup of this game. So, as far as the gameplay goes, I don't feel like I'm in the minority by saying that this is probably one of the easiest Kingdom Hearts games that exists at the way that it is right now. I mean, I didn't die at all during my first playthrough of the game, and still have not died while I'm playing it, because I've been playing it since I beat the game. And that has never ever happened to me in any Kingdom Hearts game whatsoever. I mean, the gameplay is fun. It's a lot of fun, and that's one of the most redeeming qualities about this game in my opinion. The gameplay is so much fun. However, it's not, it just feels shallow and not very difficult, because I mean, this is one of the least concerning things to me, because I know that we'll probably get some sort of Final Mix DLC at some point where there's a critical difficulty, hopefully, probably, and maybe they'll do some rebalancing by the time that the Final Mix version comes out. That's what I'm hoping for, so I'm not entirely concerned about how easy the combat is, because that's kind of how it was in Vanilla Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 2 Proud Mode Vanilla was so easy. It wasn't, I mean, I guess I'm just talking from my own perspective as someone who's played the games over the years. If you play on the standard difficulty and you had trouble, that's not a problem. That's just how it is. Everyone has their own level and everyone has their own experience of what they enjoy in the game. But as far as the combat, I really like the form changes. The way that the Keyblade transformations were some of my favorite things to use in battle. And there were a lot of great additions. However, the attraction flow, I'm very mixed on it, because a lot of the times when I had the attraction flows pop up, I didn't really use them for the most part, unless I felt like there's a lot of enemies and I just really wanted to take care of them really quick, because it's a little overpowered, and it kind of takes you out of battle, especially when most battles, when you use it, it has its own battle music for the attraction flows, which I thought was kind of weird. I didn't hate it. It wasn't a terrible decision, but I think it would have been better to keep the immersion if you just kept with the regular battle theme that we were fighting in whatever world that it was. Granted, it didn't always do that, but when it didn't transition to the attraction flow battle music, it felt so much more epic, because it was just part of the battle. It just really takes you out of the battle, in my opinion, as far as the attraction flow. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, magic. Magic, a little overpowered actually. It's as fun as it is to use, it's overpowered. That's a lot of things in this game. I just feel like in previous games, like, magic did a decent amount of damage, but not a lot. And this game, it's just like, bam, you can just spam Firaga, 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 and just take out bars of health. It's ridiculous. But, and like I said, this is one of the least concerning things to me. I believe that this is something that can be fixed with the final mix. Hopefully it actually happens. But we'll see when that happens. I don't imagine it to be happening anytime this year. Hope I could be wrong, but I imagine it to come out sometime in maybe 2020, 2021 if we're really stretching it. And that's just my thoughts on the gameplay. So let's just go through the game as it goes along. So the first opening part where we're in the Station of Awakening, I was like, okay, cool throwback. I like a lot of the references to Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2. I mean, great fan service right there. And it was just kind of weird though. I felt like it didn't translate well because all of a sudden we're in the Station of Awakening. They're like, oh, Sora's weak, blah, 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 blah. And you get fire and water, and then all of a sudden we just flash back to the end of 0.2. Where did that happen? Am I just missing something? Am I misremembering? I'm not quite sure. This is just me spewing thoughts out of my mouth, as many people do. So, after that, you go into Mount Olympus, which I think was a good starting world. Great starting world, because the world was big, and it felt varied enough. It was definitely had that Mount Olympus feel all the way throughout, because you were climbing up the mountain, and you got Rock Titan, you got the Realm of the Gods, and then you have Thebes. Thebes was, I think, a great addition, because you actually see people. Remember all the times you see, like, oh, look at all the people in the stands that are cheering for you in the Olympus Coliseum, but there's no one there? Thank God that in this game, they actually filled it in with some NPCs, and some of those areas with a lot of NPCs and that are filled in and just brimming with life, those are some of the best areas in Kingdom Hearts 3. That's where it really shines, because it just feels so much more of life. And the parts that are just open world and just things to fight, they feel a little empty overall for the most part. Olympus, I don't think it suffers too much from that, because it's filled with story. It's a lot. There's a lot of hype there, because you're like, oh man, Sora, Donald, and Goofy, they're back together, they're on an adventure. They have Hades, which is one of the cooler Disney villains in the Kingdom Hearts series, in my opinion. I do like Hades a lot. So there was a lot there. And after Olympus, you get that whole fight with the Demon Wave, Demon Tide as Riku. And that was really cool, because you're like, oh my god, you already get to play as a second character? This is nice. And then after that, it kind of starts to fall apart a little bit, because what did they do to Twilight Town? I mean, Twilight Town is just one area now. It's smaller than it was in Kingdom Hearts 2, which boggles my mind. It wasn't, like, that's one thing that I feel like this game is severely lacking. A good hub world. The Twilight Town it's fine. It's got the basics of a hub world. It's got some shops. It's got something to do. It's got Winnie the Pooh, which we'll talk about that later. But I think it's kind of lacking. What about the struggle? What about the Sandlot? What about going to all the areas? The clock tower. You can't even go to the clock tower and have that you can climb stuff. Whose idea was that? I'm just saying. And then after that, you go to the Toy Box, which was my personal favorite world for a few reasons. One, because it was the easiest to navigate. Because you had Andy's room, you had the street, and you had the store, which was divvied up into different departments, which made it really easy to navigate, and I knew exactly where I was going all the time. And it really shows that the Pixar team was very involved with this, because that world, despite not having really many NPCs, it still felt pretty it felt filled with life. I felt like it was a good time there. And the story of Sora, Donald, and Goofy was actually integrated into the story of the world, and young Xehanort was involved with the overall story. Unlike some of the later Disney worlds, which is part of some of the problems that I have. Because after Toy Box, we go to, oh god, which one is it? Kingdom of Corona, which is not a bad world. And I like the movie Tangled. Tangled was a great movie. But they did a half-assed job explaining the story, because it was just cutscenes that were taken from the movie and then thrown into Kingdom Hearts 3. And granted, they remade those scenes in the engine, and it looks so good. That's one thing I guess I just glossed over. It looks amazing. Definitely by far it's not even a comparison. Best Kingdom Hearts looking game. It's hard to argue against that, considering this is on the next gen console, the PS4, not the PS2 or a remaster of a PS2 game. So it looks fantastic. Presentation, I can't complain about that. It's also one of the best things about the game. But anyways, back to Toy Box. So one of the things that stood out to me about Toy Box versus some of the other worlds is that Oh yeah, I don't even talk about Toy Box anymore. Kingdom of Corona, it lacks life, I think, because you have this. I think there's a lot of potential that was missed with the Kingdom Corona, because you had Flynn Rider, a cool character, and Rapunzel's likable enough. I like her, and the the worlds just kind of blended together. I know there were different areas. There was the marsh, there was the forest, and there's the wildflower field, and then the town or the village. But besides the village, all those areas, they weren't super easy to navigate because it just felt like one big forest. Maybe I'm the minority of that. It's not the worst out of all of the worlds. We'll get there, but there's some missed potential. Like I said, the story is not well fleshed out, and I guess if you have a basic understanding of Tangled, then you can understand what's happening. And maybe even if you haven't seen the movie, you probably can gather enough of the context clues to see what's happening. But some worlds, it really suffers from bad storytelling. So after Kingdom of Corona, then we go into Monstropolis. Monstropolis is another world that I think was integrated not too poorly. It's not as good as Toy Box in my opinion, but the fact that they put Sora, Donald, and Goofy into the story made it so much better than something like Tangled, like Kingdom of the Corona, because it was a lot of just the movie, and Sora, Donald, and Goofy were just there. They didn't have any real interaction with the overarching story, and I didn't feel involved. I just felt like there was a story that I was watching and unfold, and I was just there along for the ride. And that goes into Arendelle as well, which I think is even a worse offender because one, everything's just snow. I know the area after exploring post-game, but for the most part, Arendelle is another world that kind of just blends all together. I get it, it's hard. There's the Ice Palace and then there's snow. That's really all there is to it. And yes, I think it's maybe a little bit easier to navigate than Kingdom of Corona, since I think it's a little bit smaller. But man, the storytelling is awful because you got Hans, he didn't even say a goddamn word in this whole damn movie. Speaking of which, how did I ignore the fact that Phil said nothing in Mount Olympus? He was there, and I just kept looking at him, he's like emoting and stuff, but like, there's no words. What happened? Did they just not get a voice actor for Phil? It boggles my mind. Back to Arendelle. Like I said, this video is gonna be all over the place. It's just thoughts and thoughts and thoughts, and I had coffee, so deal with it. And so anyways, back to Arendelle. I do gotta say though, the snowman party member, that was really cool. I did not expect that to happen. I mean, I saw it in trailers, but I forgot about it by the time I got to the game. And so when he joins the party, I was like, oh my god, that is wonderful. And it actually had one of the best boss battles in Arendelle at the end when you fight Hans's Heartless. But back to what I was trying to say before about the whole storytelling, it just, by this point in the story, things have kind of trickled far off into where it started, because it started off so strong. Olympus was a good world, and you got the Riku fight right after this. There's a bunch of action, but after every Disney World, it's just sprinkled in a little bit of the Kingdom Hearts story, and I don't think it was enough. The problem with this game is not necessarily that it was lacking good moments. There was a lot of good moments. There were some bad moments in this game, for sure, but that wasn't the main problem. I think the biggest problem of this game is the pacing. I feel like there's so much more of the Kingdom Hearts story that should have been integrated into the Disney Worlds, or even in between the Disney Worlds. It wasn't enough. Because they kind of rush all the Kingdom Hearts part of the story at the end of the game. And I'll get to that once we get to the end game, because I have a lot to say about that. So after Arendelle, we go to Pirates, which is arguably another terrible world. I mean, there's a lot of things about it that are fine, but as far as the storytelling, it is the worst, because I did not see the movie that the story of this world was based off of, and I had literally no understanding of what was going on. I was trying so hard, I'm just like, so he's alive, he's not alive, he's being rescued, and we have a crab goddess. I didn't get it. I tried so hard to just wrap my mind around things, but again, it suffers from taking scenes from the movie, putting them into the game, and not providing enough context, and not giving enough of a role for Sora, Donald, and Goofy to play in these worlds, which I feel like was something they did better in some of the other Kingdom Hearts games, which is crazy to me. I mean, granted, a lot of the older Kingdom Hearts games, they just rip plots from the movies that they were based on, and which would have been fine in this game where they did it, but they just needed to put some more work into it. And I get it. They tried so hard to make it look good and make it look fresh. And I know that takes a lot of time and work, but it shows that other parts of the world and the story, they suffer because of all the time that was taken to make this game look good, unfortunately. And then San Francisco, oh man, like, I liked it enough. It was definitely probably a middle ground world for me, but it was so much wasted potential, I think. Because you got a team of 6 superheroes here, eventually 7, I guess, and that have the abilities to fight, but they don't. Like, they try to, and I can understand them being weak in the beginning, like, oh, we have to adapt, but they still made them useless later in the world. There was such missed potential. I think it would have been cool to, like, team up with each individual, like, fighter and, like, have them do more stuff. I don't know, they felt useless to me, but overall, the world, it was fine enough. It's decently big, although it's just one city area in the garage, as far as I can remember. There's day and night, and it's big enough, but, like, I don't know, it's not the most interesting to explore, I guess, in my personal opinion. And then I completely skipped over 100 Acre Wood. 100 Acre Wood, what did they do to you? What did they do to you? They didn't even have the torn pages. I was just like, hey, I got this book with Winnie the Pooh. Sora's like, I'm not on the cover. What's wrong with this? I'm gonna go on the book. Everything seems fine. Play 3 mini games. Oh, game over. Let's leave. It was devoid of any life. And that's something that I feel like, even though the game overall has added NPCs to make the worlds feel more lived in, something about this game, it just feels empty compared to some of the other Kingdom Hearts games. I mean, I feel like it's having some of the same problems that Dream Drop Distance had with this world. It's not nearly in the same kind of extent. Don't get me wrong. Dream Drop Distance has some crazy big worlds with even less to do in them, but I think it suffers from a few of the same problems as Dream Drop Distance, at least in the level design, because even though they are so detailed, and I do like how the treasure chests are hard to find and the lucky emblems, those are fun little challenges. I'm okay with that, but I don't know, when some of the life is lost when you spend so much time on the detail, and then I feel like some of the level design, I guess, it suffered. It suffered because of that. And then that leads us into the final endgame area, Keyblade Graveyard, which had so many good moments. I'm not gonna lie, so many good moments, but it was killed because of the pacing. I think they rushed way too much story at the end of the game. That's just how I feel. I also feel like that fight with Aqua where you go to save her and Ventus, that should have happened way earlier in the story, because I feel like it was just like, oh, we saved Aqua, oh, we saved Ventus, oh, now time to go do the final battle, oh, we saved Terra, oh, we saved Roxas, we saved Shin, we saved everybody in the span of 2 hours. No! It's like, I don't know. That's just how I feel. I think they should have taken the time to introduce the characters a little bit more slowly, because, man, when you shove a bunch of characters that don't really have any true interaction with each other, at least in recent years, because I mean, I know Aqua and technically met Sora and Riku when they were like small children, like 10 years ago, but like, I think there needed to be some more interaction between the Kingdom Hearts characters. It just wasn't enough. Especially even between the main trio. Sora, Riku, and Kairi. We'll get to Kairi later. That's a whole nother rant that I have to talk about. But there was just no real, like, genuinely bonding moments between the three. And I was hoping to see that in this supposed conclusion to the Xehanort saga. That's where it started. We had Riku, Sora, and Kairi, and they barely interacted together at all during the whole game. It was weird. It was really weird. And as I was saying, they should have taken the time to integrate Aqua and Ven into the group, or at least even have them go out to some Disney Worlds for some retraining or whatever. It was just something to flesh out the characters, give them some more interactions, give them some more life to them, because I just feel like these characters, there's so many main characters in Kingdom Hearts now, and now that they have to put them all in one place, they don't know what to do with them. Half the time when there's scenes of a bunch of Kingdom Hearts characters together, there's nothing going on. There's one person talking, and then it rotates to another person talking, and then another person, and then granted, that's how Kingdom Hearts has always been, but it's really, really noticeable when you have this large group of Keyblade wielders, and it's really awkward. It just feels awkward. And so let's get to the actual Keyblade Graveyard part, though. So I really liked the team-ups. I liked teaming up with the different Guardians of Light. That was super cool. And then fighting all the organization members separately. That was also cool. And it made the organization feel, I don't know about, like you feel some sort of, God, what's the word? You feel something for some of the characters. You just feel some empathy. Because clearly some of these characters, They didn't want to be Xehanort's heart tank, as Larxene would put it, and you feel that there's more ulterior motives to some of these characters. Although there are some some things that just bothered me because we never really learned. They mentioned it. They were like, oh, yeah, the organization members between 9 and 12, they were interesting, but then they never touch anything about it. Like, I imagine hopefully they come back in Kingdom Hearts 4 or whatever the next goddamn game is, who knows. But that was just one plot point that they introduced and then just never went back to, because it's true, we don't know. Luxord, Demyx, Marluxia, and Larxene, what are their backstories? We have hints that at least Marluxia and Larxene come from the time of Union Cross or Unchained Key or whatever the hell you want to call it, and maybe the other two as well. I don't really know, but I'm just saying it. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. So yes, teaming up with all the Kingdom Hearts Guardians of Light, that was cool fighting, and then seeing I see some complaints about the pacing when it comes to when you defeat one of the bosses and the other boss just kind of stands off and does nothing to the side while there's a dramatic cutscene happening. I didn't mind it as much. I think it was cool. I love seeing just a little bit of closure when you defeat each boss, and it just gives a little bit more life, because these are some of the best moments in the game, I think. But they all happen so fast and at the same time that it kind of takes away a little bit from it. And that aside, speaking of the boss battles in that game, or in that part of the game, they kind of blend together for me, and I don't think it's from lack of good design. I think their design, they just feel like shadows of their former selves from their previous games when you originally fought them. And I think a big part of that is because you're so overpowered. Like, you don't even get to see half the things that these bosses do because you're just too busy wailing on them. They're just punching bags. And that's just how I felt, and that's how I felt all the way towards the end. Like, granted, there were cool story moments here, but it still suffers from that pacing. And some things I just don't fully understand still, because how did Roxas come back? I understand that Demyx gave them the replica, and then, Sora connected him to his friend, so Roxas was able to come back. But where did the replica body come from? It just came out of Sora and was like, hey, I'm here, bitch, I'm gonna fight you. And not gonna lie though, teaming up with Xion and Roxas at the same time, that was a sick fucking moment. And when that happened, I was like, oh my god. And I don't even give a shit about Xion like most people do. I get it. And also, that's something that also wasn't very well touched upon. I understand how it happened with, like, the replica program, kind of how with the Riku replica that they fought earlier than that. But it just, a lot of things just weren't well explained. The parts that were well explained were from previous games that I already knew everything, and it felt almost patronizing at some points, as someone who's played the games a bunch of times. And I get it, I get why it's there. It's for newcomers who may have picked up the game and didn't play it in the rest, which I understand. I understand what that's for. It's helpful for them. But as someone who's played the games, it wasn't for me. But that's okay. It's a small gripe, very, very small gripe. So then, after all the Keyblade Graveyard stuff, you go to Scala, or I guess before that, the final world thing. I didn't even talk about the final world, where you have to find all the stupid ass Soras. It was just annoying. I didn't see the point of it. I also completely skipped over the whole Pirates world. Let me backtrack to that. I missed the Pirates world. So I was very indifferent to it. I've seen so many people hating on it. It was probably my second least favorite world, if we're being honest. And the ship combat, it was whatever. The underwater combat, it was meh. And then finding 300 crabs was just annoying. I completely forgot about the gameplay stuff. I talked about mostly story because that was the part that really shined to me about how bad it was. But back to the Keyblade Graveyard. Yes, so Final World, that was alright. It was weird how they kind of like went back in time and acted like, oh yeah, we're okay, but then acted like everything was new still when they went to go meet up with, what was it, Terra Xehanort? And Lingering Will coming out, that was pretty cool. I liked it. They saved Terra, that's all that stuff. But like I said, I think they should have spaced that out more throughout the game. That's why I'm concerned the most about, because it's something that's hard to fix in a final mix. Like, you have to rearrange a lot of the game in order to fix the pacing. That's one of the biggest problems in my opinion. But yeah, and then the final boss, it was just kind of meh. It didn't end with a bang, it ended with like a poof, because Master Ericus was like, hello friend, it's time to stop, and his Xehanort was like, yeah, you're right, man, you're right, peace. And that was it. I was like, I get it, to make Xehanort a more sympathetic character, that's fine. I don't know, I don't hate it. I definitely don't hate it. It was just kind of a weird moment for me. And the fight itself was very lackluster, because when you think about Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 final bosses, it's like huge giant forms where you're fighting these giant things, and then in this game it was a bunch of like human-sized battles or bosses, which I normally love in Kingdom Hearts, because I don't think there's enough of those. But in this game, they just felt like punching bags. The balance was not there. And from there, let's just talk about the ending. I'm mixed. Oh, Kairi. How we not talk about Kairi and Lee? Some of the most wasted potential out of all the characters in the game. I mean, granted, I'm gonna just say this right now. All the characters in the game, all the Kingdom Hearts characters, I felt were so underutilized. Sora and Donald and Goofy took up a bunch of the screen time, which is fine. But none of the other characters got the time that they deserved, I felt. None of them. And the worst offender was Kairi, because they built her up so much. She has been doing nothing in all the games, and then suddenly it's like, oh yeah, we're going to train Kairi to be a Keyblade Master. She's going to be great. I was even in the mindset before playing this game that she might even be playable, but man, I was so blindsided. I guess it's my own expectations getting the better of me. I wasn't disappointed that we couldn't play her, but I was disappointed about how they handled her. She is constantly the damsel in distress over and over and over again. They made her a Keyblade wielder in this game. They still made her the damsel in distress. How did that happen? They kill her off. And another thing that bothered me about the final moments of the game is when the demon wave took all of Sora's friends and Riku was like defending Sora and stuff, but Sora breaks down so quick. He has seen far worse shit, in my opinion, and this, just them being grabbed by the demon tide was enough for him to be like, ah! And I don't know. It was just, I found it weird. I didn't like it. I didn't like that part. And then Lee, what happened to his Keyblade? It was just them just like, you think this is a joke? Boom, and just like squeezes it and destroys it, which is cool. But what happened to the Keyblade? It's destroyed. What kind of Keyblade is Lee? Is Lee's Keyblade? What material is it made of? Is it made of fucking like ice? It looked like it was just crushed, with no consequence. And then he later has his Keyblade with no explanation later on in the final cutscenes. It makes no sense. But whatever. And speaking of Lee, it took him forever to get into his new outfit. I don't know why they waited until the end of the game. Like, I get it. He liked the way his old clothes looked, and then moving on. It was a symbolic moving on, but I just was like, it was kind of weird to only show it at the end. I feel like they should have given more time to that. And then, I kind of understand the whole Sora disappearing into the sunlight thing. I hope that the Kairi coming back thing is expanded upon a little bit more, because she was clearly dead at the end of the great climax of Kingdom Hearts 3, but she's in there in the ending cutscene on the beach over by the island, with the Sora that gets Thanos, essentially. I think that's just more of a symbolic thing. Sora was never really there, or maybe he was, I don't know, and it looks like he gets transported into the Reapers game from The World Ends With You in the Secret movie, along with Verum Rex from the Toy Story world, which is just Nomura's Final Fantasy 15 baby brought into Kingdom Hearts 3 and made canon. Look, okay, I won't lie. When I saw the Verum Rex trailer in the fucking in the Toy Story world, I was like, yo, why aren't we playing that game? Where's that game? And then we actually get it in the secret movie with Yozora. I was like, god damn. It was a lot of hype, but I was still, I don't know. Overall, it just the problem that I have with Kingdom Hearts 3 is that I felt like there was so much build-up over the past few years to this game that I thought was going to answer a lot of questions. But it just felt, by the end of it, I didn't feel much of a conclusion. Like, Xehanort's gone, but like he's just a drop in the puddle. Which is what I expected. But like, it just felt like this game was setting up for more in the future, and I didn't get enough payoff from the setup that was in the previous games. That's one of the biggest problems. It just feels like this game is set up for more stuff. That's not what I was looking for. Granted, I expected them to set some stuff up for the next game, but I feel like there's more setup than payoff, and that's one of the biggest crimes that I guess Kingdom Hearts 3 comes to, in my opinion. But that's just what I think. But But overall, I know it sounds like I was hating on this game a lot, but I do really like the game. It's just that despite all the good moments and all the fun that I have, because it's a lot of fun. That's one thing I can say about Kingdom Hearts 3. It's a lot of fun. But the way that it's executed, it just becomes a disappointment. And I hope that this is something they can remedy in a final mix or some kind of DLC, but I don't know how they can. I really don't. And it sucks. I wanted Kingdom Hearts 3 to be my favorite game of all time, and I know that's a lofty goal or expectation to live up to. And normally I don't like to have expectations like that. I went in just trying to be like, you know what, this is the game that I'm playing. I hope I like it. I really wanted to like it because I love Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is my favorite video game franchise of all time, and I say all of this with love. But while it is one of the better Kingdom Hearts games, it's still a disappointment to me, and that's something that I'm still struggling to stomach right now. And maybe my mind will change as time goes on, and my mind will maybe change once the final mix is out and more DLC is out, but that remains to be seen. So this went on a lot longer than I originally planned for it to go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Something I've seen all sorts of different opinions. And if you want to see more Kingdom Hearts content from me, be sure to, and you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because I have so many ideas, and this is just the start of the Kingdom Hearts content. I will be bringing more. I hope. I say that now. We'll see what happens. But that's it. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing. Oh, how could I forget? Because apparently the Kingdom Hearts team forgot the Final Fantasy characters. What the fuck? But they're just gone. Here's what I think. If they wanted to get rid of the Final Fantasy characters, that's fine. But there was a way that they could have done it, and it would have been way better, because they should have included them in this game and then killed them off. If they all died in a massive war, that would have had so much more of an impact to Sora. And they could have, if they had died, then you have a reason that they're gone and just not in the picture, and there is some meaning to them. I was hoping for the Final Fantasy characters to show up. They never did, and I was pretty upset. Oh yeah, and a few things I noticed I forgot to talk about somehow after I was editing it. First of all, Scala ad Kylum. I thought that was going to be a world to explore, and it just ended up being a place to go to fight the final boss, and it was okay. I'm okay with the use of that, but like, it looks so pretty. It looks like a place that you want to explore, and the game doesn't let you do that. I don't know, that's just my thoughts. It looks like a place that you, like a final world to go to, like the equivalent of Kingdom Hearts 2's The World That Never Was. But, I mean, I guess that's just some missed potential in my book. And of course, somehow I didn't talk about the epilogue, where the foretellers from Unchained Key show up, and you reveal that Lucio has been Xigbar this whole time, which I think was genuinely the best twist in the entire game, because this game was so goddamn predictable. But of course, they had to save the best twist for the epilogue. And I don't know, I like Xigbar. I've always liked Xigbar as a character, and to see him have a bigger role in the grand scheme of Kingdom Hearts, I'm okay with that. And I don't think I talked about the girl that Isa and Lee were originally trying to save that was locked in a dungeon with Ansem. It's touched upon a little bit in the secret reports. I don't have all those yet, so I still have to learn. But my theory is that it's either Ava or Skuld from Unchained Key, either one of the original foretellers or I guess one of the newer foretellers. But that remains to be seen. That's just some theories in my book. But yeah, overall, like, I like the things that the epilogue and the secret movie brought about, but to collectively with Kingdom Hearts 3, it just adds more fuel to the fire of what I think is wrong with Kingdom Hearts 3. It's just too much setup. But I'm gonna stop ranting here because there's a lot to say, and I've already taken a lot of your time. So here is the originally recorded outro. But yeah, I already did the ending spiel. Blew my load on that one. But like I said, like, share, subscribe, show your friends, tell everybody, and well, I guess we'll see what Kingdom Hearts 3 looks like in the future, a year from now, a year and a half from now, and let's see what the Kingdom Hearts franchise is going to be looking like soon. Because I mean, right now it's in disarray. We were looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3 for so long. Now it's almost like we don't even know what to do now. I'm just like, is that it? Where's more Kingdom Hearts? But that being said, like, share, subscribe, and hope to see you in the next video, Kingdom Hearts video, whatever. And until next video, I've been Michang and
See ya.